Wrap that up. There we go. Forgive the sound check. So we are gonna play through the Last Caretaker demo one more time. Played the other day. I said I want to get a fast, efficient start. Did not work. Got easily distracted. Tried it again. Also did not work. We're gonna go back again. This game releases tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to it. Now, based on what I'm seeing from other folks who had early access, the demo area is massive. I mean, you could spend hours clearing it out, but there's a lot else going on in this game. So I want to try and split the difference and maybe not spend more than a couple hours in this section. In fact, let's go ahead. Another reason that we can. I pulled out my my phone, and I'm going to do a timer for 2 hours. First time I did this, I did it like in 4 hours, and I think I got it down to 3. So let's see if we can shove a little bit more time off of it. Okay. So we're going to do a new game. I am playing on controller. I'm also playing on the lowest resolution graphics in order to not stress my laptop. All right, so this is the opening room of a torch. Hold down the D-pad. There's a difference between tapping the D-pad and holding down the D-pad that I had to get used to, but it does eventually get a little easier. It gets into the muscle memory. Let me grab that. There's actually quite a bit of resources and things like that bed, for example, but we can't break it down as of yet.
But it doesn't have to stay that way. Reconnect the power. Bring this place back to life.
There's also discussion that perhaps folks come back here for one reason or another. Poor robot friend. So clearing the place out for no, just because you can sometimes be a bit of a false economy, because then there's nothing left if you have to come back. So we're going to add this to the holster, and instead of holding down the D-pad, if you tap the D-pad, that pulls out this. We picked up, that gives you just enough light to see, what's in the corner. We did pick up a couple of cables. Downside of the glow stick is when you try to do something, it goes away. Whereas with the torch, it's always on.
Caretaker. Every restored connection brings us closer to reclaiming our home. We've lingered here long enough, Caretaker. Head to the docking hangar. There's something important there waiting to show us our path.
All right. We do want to collect as many of these as we can. These are called the stuffed animals and other items that you'll see. You'll recognize them when you see them, called memories, and they are useful later on. I'm not going to turn on the lights in here or in any of the other rooms until I have to. So they are different, and do this just for the moment.
Begin by tending to your own systems. Vitality first. The ferrofluid in your frame is not ordinary coolant. It was designed as a living system, adaptive and self-healing, drawn from Exo's earliest work in extreme environments. Keep it circulating. Keep it balanced. Without flow, responsiveness fades, joints degrade, and shutdown follows. Cycle at the vitality station. Let the resonance stabilize. The pulse will restore your movement. Memory station. Sync your state. Record your cycle. Secure the record of your work.
He's going to talk, and I'm going to talk, and we don't want to talk over each other. So, this is your health station. Your health is different than your energy. We found some batteries. I'll get to those in a minute. We back up the slot, and actually, I keep jumping when I should be selecting. I'm actually that's gonna mark the starting point, which is 118 again in my time. And do a second save. Up for robot friend. There's nothing else in here that's easy to get to. So go ahead and move just as much as we need to up that. The boxes are being different. There we go. It's been caught on something. There's physics and everything. So if things bump into each other, they very often end up getting tangled. Also, things are heavy. So putting them back on top of each other is not always as easy as you think. All right. That's enough of that. There's some stuff in here that would be easy to break down into another light switch. There is another battery down here. You can tap X to loot, or you can hold X to loot everything. And like the glow sticks, the batteries can be added to the holster. We see down the bottom, there's a little tooltip that you can cycle through. No, get that away. Got your glow stick. All right. If you don't want to, you can't get the power on, you can climb up the ladder. It goes all the way up through various platforms. There's stuff down there to connect. To collect, sorry, but we can come back for it afterwards. You can see it off to the side there. There's platforms. Some of them have things on them, some of them don't. And in here, you are going to want to see what you're doing. So turn the lights on. Suck up the batteries. This is going to teach you about melee. That little blue blobby thing is not supposed to be there. Until it pops up, you get too close to it, and it spawn a bunch of those. And you need to hit it until it vanishes. Because the bigger ones will spawn more of the objects, the sweethearts they're called. And all of them will respawn. They'll regrow if you don't take out the sort of the mama. Okay. Or little robot friend. Open this hero's bed.
There she is, your vessel. More than just metal and circuits, it's your freedom. This boat is how you'll reclaim the seas, and perhaps even your identity. The dock systems are offline. Without them, we're trapped here. Restore the power, Caretaker, so we can sail again.
Right. These are larger batteries. You can charge yourself fully off of this one if you run it down for whatever reason. With that said, I've seen some people drain them completely and then just recycle them on the assumption that there will be others later on, which may be fair. These games have to strike a fine balance between forcing you to make choices and not leaving you stranded. All right, so this is where you learn the parkour. Hit the A button, as I was doing earlier, to jump. If you fall in the water, there's a ladder on the boat, and there's a ladder against the wall. You do not sink. Sometimes you can get low enough that you can get stuck under things, and then it can be a bit of a problem. I did manage to drown myself once, but it's not necessarily fatal. You can swim. So we're going to back up, take running start, and then do A, hopefully at the right second. Not necessary to make the sound when you go right, but you know, it's all right. This guy is sometimes a pain in the butt to get up. You need to look for the little icon, grab and hold whatever button it's giving you because that. Now the problem is I don't have the dismantler tool. When you hit a certain level, you get a dismantler tool. And I don't have it. So to get on the ladder, you hit X and move up, taking him with us. We dropped him before we fell, right? We dropped him before we fell. I think I go. He made it. Hello, robot friend. I'm gonna feel so bad about recycling you later because you're special. Anyways, there are plenty of them everywhere, so it's not necessary to get them all. It's also not necessary to do this in this order. This is a mooring cable. Connect it here. It pulls the boat closer to the dock and keeps it from wobbling around. And then you don't have to worry as much about falling between the cracks. So this is an orange cable connected to that yellow tank. That is diesel, and one of your tasks eventually is going to be to fuel the boat, essentially. So we might as well get started while we're here. You hit Y, you switch the input mode. So this is taking fuel out. This is what's called equalizing. So the level in the tank and the level in the boat will be the same. And in some cases, that's what's desired. In other cases, it's a bit of a pain in the butt. So be aware that that's an option, but I'm not going to worry about it right at the moment. I'm just going to see where we're going. And I want to collect loot as we do. Because, I did hit level 2 at some point. All right. Level 2, this is what you start with. Level 1, you have the repair tool and you have the flashlight, which we saw. Level 2, for free, you get the electric engine and you get the dismantle tool, which is the orange cutter tool. You are also going to need the electric cable and the electric cable extender. The fuel cable, you'll have enough fuel cables at the moment, so you'll need these later, but you won't need it right now. The Lumalite is a solar battery. You see on my screen, it's a little off to the edge. I'm not entirely sure why that is. Maybe it's down to my resolution, but you can see it tucked away over there. And in fact, underneath it, even harder to see, is a wind turbine that you can build when you get to level 3. In the meantime, I'm always putting everything into power management and battery. There are other things. Scrapper gets you percentage gain on whatever you do in terms of dismantling things. Pressure, there is reportedly diving later on, and I imagine pressure keeps you from imploding when you go too deep. But the demo, it's not an issue. Unless you test this area. I mean, I guess you could if you really wanted to. Engineering helps build times and reduces the number of resources needed. Hydraulics and haul increase your carry capacity as haul mastery and hydraulics. Those heavy boxes are easier to move if you invest in hydraulics. So if you plan on moving a lot of those around, that is going to be the one to go for. Otherwise, you might consider haul mastery because that just increases your backpack, and vitality increases your hit points. So when things start whacking you, that becomes a lot easier. All right, so right button gets you the dismantle tool and the repair tool. It would be so cool if you could repair this gap. I did a whole thing about it once where in one of my other playthroughs, I tried to build like a little bridge and it actually worked. It took a lot of time though, and it took certain number of materials and was kind of janky, but it did support me. So I didn't have to jump over that anymore. I was just able to walk on across. That might be useful in later parts and other places, knowing that that's an option. So there was a little green glow stick over here. I may have sucked it up accidentally. Those are useful for telling you where to go. You want to get in here at a certain point. That machine over there is a recycler, and we're going to need it. But first, we have to go upstairs. And you are just randomly tossed on the stairs. So we are going to just roll that downstairs. Nowhere. Post it out again. There's another one. We also need to open this door, but we can't because there's no power and this requires a switch. So we look around. There's something. The boxes are all lootable. The cardboard boxes are all lootable. The more sturdy looking boxes, you have to dismantle, and they do have lots of stuff in them. But sometimes it's worth it to leave them where they are the first few runs through an area because they can make good platforms for jumping around. I'm going to go through this. There is, at least in the demo, nothing in here that lands on your face. More batteries. We have a robot friend, but we're going to leave them for the moment. And we're just going to lift that up a little and then toss it out. Now, back for our robot friend, because eventually we are going to want to dismantle him. Alas, a robot friend. Over here. Underneath the poster again. All right, so what's going on over here is this is where we want to repair this. You can see it's smoking. That's usually a bad sign. And then flip this switch. But first, we need to get power to it. So a good thing to do is to come over here and just suck up everything. There's more power cables. Another one of those sweethearts. We're going to break it down. There's some prepared materials so that you don't have to worry about making the things you'll need for the repair for this one. So the reason I've had the glow stick out is because the torch burns your battery. And this is where equalizing makes a difference. You see, these two are, this one has way more in it. And it looks like it's draining, but it's going to drain into here. Later on, we're going to refill both. But right now, we are going to pick up this thing that has been left here. And you grab the cable and lift it up. You see that little glow in the center circle there? That's telling me which of these that I'm targeting. If I shift it over, I'm hitting the one on the edge. But we'll just go ahead with the one in the center. And now it is talking to this. Fantastic, you say. What the hell does that do? Well, what it does is it enables us to do this. Now, you could just drag this across and plug it in, but in the interest of efficiency, I am going to bring it over here. And I'm going to position it right about here. I'm going to hit right trigger, and it sees this little ghost image pops up. That is telling me that if I have the materials, I can fabricate something. Pop that in there. I'm going to actually something movable down there. I don't read it. This is going to lower this ladder so you don't have to take the stairs up all the time. That's just junk. I'm going to come over here. Now, what we did not deplete our inventory, but you're worried about that. Do this first and then the other thing. This is a big part of the game, which is cable management, which is trying to put them down in a way that you're not constantly dragging things over them. So I'm going to connect the splitter to the tower, and then with
Doc
that
is alive
switch.
again, thanks to you. Each step forward reconnects us to a brighter future. Caretaker, you were never meant to remain bound. These waters were once pathways, carrying life, purpose, and discovery. Something awaits you out there, ready to be reclaimed.
All right, so she's had her little speech. We now have lights in here, and we have this set up. Now we can get in here. More batteries, more objects. Thank you. Turn lights on. Now, you don't need to heal up. We will need to power up. But first, we're going to go ahead. Back up. I'm going to back up on backup slot 2 because that's going to tell me how much time has passed. Next time I look. All right. So why bother with this? The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go upstairs. Well, the next thing we're going to do is gather some materials, but eventually there is energy sources on the roof, and we're going to connect the roof power down here through those batteries through this. This is going to stay where it is, just sort of powering the general area. And then we are going to take a cable down this ladder and across the deck and down onto the ship. And that is how I'm going to refill the battery on the ship. There are a couple different ways to do it. You can take a cable all the way down the stairs, down those other stairs, past another one of our little robot friends over there that's dangling. Poor guy. Should have taken him down when I went past. And then down onto the dock and then onto the ship. There is another battery down there. You could just connect the battery that's down there onto the ship and it'll give you it'll accomplish the same goal, the primary goal, which is to power the ship. But the batteries do drain eventually. I mean, I haven't actually managed to drain one fully. But if you plan on, let me go ahead and charge myself back up. These have 4 little things on them. You can plug into any one of them and then connect it to yourself. The mode in this equalize and anything that's going from the battery to you is fine. Anything that's going from you to the battery is going to drain it. And you want to be careful of that. So the upside of the cutter tool is it is very mobile. The downside is that it draws power. You can see my blue bar is going down. So I'm going to be a bit picky about what I dismantle at the moment. But I want those techie bits, and I fear I want my robot friend. Bye, robot friend. Thank you for your service. There you go. All right, the rest of the stuff can wait, or if you're really feeling like having a lot of fun, you can chuck things down onto the boat. Hole in one. Score. Okay. And there was a cable that was coming down off those stairs. I like to restring it and save a little, but we'll get to that part when we get to open this door. You can also open it manually by dragging it across. And leave the lights off. Don't care. Press this stuff off the stairs. Don't get the stuff. There we go. Now, if you do want to make that little bridge I was talking about, don't dismantle the big metal plates because they're if we want to get a hold of the what are called the long iron beams, root that and lay them down first. Or I put down a couple of pallets and then I laid the long iron beams down. And then I laid the mental plates on top of the long iron beams so that it was stable. Because if you just put the beams down, they had a tendency to wobble into the water. Riveting, I know. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to eventually need all of this over here. I'm going to do it. Just give a teddy bear. Be mindful of the weight. The teddy bears get heavy. It's worth it actually to put the teddy bears on the boat very early into this and just drop them there, or you can make a box for them if you really want to. Because you don't want to be carrying them around forever. The boat is reasonably safe unless you really piss off one of the sharks and then you're in trouble. So you may as well. This is one of the reasons why I like the dismantler as well better, because there's an awful lot of toing and froing when you do it this way. Right. This is another one that I would have saved if I was going to do the bridge, but we are not going to do that this time. I'm just going to check it over here. This is what I'm after. These are really good. Anything that is tech related. So the screens, the monitors, the reel-to-reel machines, that's what those little boxes are. The robots, the busted enemies. If you find those little sweethearts rolling around, they all give metal, plastic, and tech scraps. And tech scraps have some of the more uncommon metals that you're going to need. They also give glass. So this is a battery that's here for you. You can use it for all sorts of things. It is not connected to anything. If you're going to decide you want to do a completist run and just strip the entire place, you are going to want to connect this machine to something besides that battery, because I venture to guess that you're going to wear it down in the end. All right. Toss everything in there. I am told it is impossible to throw yourself into the machine. I don't want to be the dev who had to test that one. All right. Sometimes aiming helps. This is one of the reasons also why I'm not going over the boxes, because you have to lift things up to get a good toss. And the boxes are hard to lift, so they are not the most efficient use of power. And there is, I believe, also a certain amount of power consumption. It's just kind of have to be shoved in. I believe there's a certain amount of power construction just in lifting and carrying things. But I haven't done the math on that, so I can't be sure. You'll notice I am, however, a little less than I used to be, but that might be from the dismantle tool. Metal. And we just let that spill out for the moment. The tires are fun. Yes, they're relatively light. They're easy to aim. And if you miss the shot, they bounce all. Yes. So, what I'm doing is building up hopefully enough so that I can go upstairs and I only have to be there a little bit in terms of repairing the stuff. I won't have to run up and down and up and down. So in the interest of that, I'm going to get just a little bit of the stuff out of the hallway. Yep. And from back here, fabric. I'm going to have to put my scraps in as well. When you dismantle things, they come back to you in scraps. You can see this one. Point the dismantler at things. It tells you what you'll get. These screens have wire scrap, plastic scrap, and broken glass. So that will obviously give us plastic and glass. It may also give us copper. I think the copper is used for a lot of the electronics. These are, I'm out of battery. See, I got the little red icon down there. If you use up your entire internal battery, it will begin eating your life. And that is one of the ways that you may die. I'm going to wait for that to charge me. And hold the B button down to put the wire away. That took me a while. So walk up to this, hit X, and then hit Y to deposit all trash. So anything that you had picked up that happens to be scrap, it'll consolidate to be. What we're going to do, ignore this for a moment, actually come back here, and I'm going to go into my inventory, select drop, and drop you, and drop you. I'll hold on to the biomass. Biomass you get when you quench the beasties. These are just some bits that we've left lying around for you. There is a recycler. When you have power on the boat, there is a recycler and a fabricator in the boat. We have given you these because what they want you to do is to repair. I don't have enough plastic. They didn't give me enough plastic. Oh no. That's okay. We're going back up here. And by the time we come back down, there's going to be plenty of plastic. Right. All those little sort of fluorescent green things are plastic. Away with them. Yeah, I was like legit just dragging around with the cable flopping around outside of me for half the first demo. I couldn't figure out how to put it away. So it has told me that I have hit level 3. In the demo, that's as far as you can go. I could leave right now if you wanted to, but we're not going to bother. We are, however, going to get the electric gun and the storage container. You can make a diesel cylinder engine. You can make glow sticks if you don't have enough. You can make the small batteries, which is the sort of half-size one. These are medium batteries. That one that I found up right after I got off the elevator, those are small batteries. And then the consumable ones that are down in my holsters, those are the smallest, and those are just kind of like handhelds. All right. So we can go repair the boat. We have for certain, we've got one of the that's one of the little quests in the upper corner is green because we went ahead and refilled the diesel. If we wanted to, we could drain that battery down there and we could refuel the boat and then we could just leave. You can open the gate here. You don't have to go up to the top. I don't like leaving everything completely powerless. So I'm going to go up to the top. Go ahead and save first. And save. Backup slot 2. All right. I'm actually going to check. So I started at 118 and in about half an hour, I've gotten to the point where technically I could probably leave with a minimum amount of effort from here. But I think it's important to clean the place up a little bit, even if we don't strip it for parts. Took care of some of the freighters. Actually, I should probably leave them until later because there's something up power and we need power in a minute. And there are some more of them here. There are some scraps. It is daylight though. That's good. And then up there. All right, let's go out and take a look at this. Other thing you could do before you leave is to make the taser pistol, but you may as well just whack things with the keyboard. To be honest. Okay. So, crowbar is, that is true. See, I'm glad I tested that. Crowbar is the left button. Whack, 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 whack. Yes, I know you're down there. Where'd you go? Okay. There's more of them over here. These up. Another waka, waka, waka. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see you. You can get it too. Okay, now I'm overloaded. I'm overloaded and I'm carrying all of these materials with me. And the point of the materials was to fix all of these. When you point your repair tool at them, it tells you, see, these need a lot more than anything that was downstairs. And the ones that you're going to need from the tech scraps are going to be the glass, silicone, and aluminum. Plastic, copper, and iron are pretty common. You get those from a lot of the metal. Fabric comes off of the chairs and off of those dividers. But the others have to be searched out. Aluminum and silicone in particular can be a pain in the butt. So we are going to plug you in here. This is where we get back into cable management, which that back. Pay attention to what the contextual messages are telling you because they are trying to give you a heads up as to what you're about to do, what you're about to connect anything to. Okay, up there, thank you. Up to that. Now, we have the solar panels running. Obviously, it's daylight, so the solar panels are very cool. They are charging this. It's not actually going to do anything, however. It's plugged into this. Learn how to recognize these because these are on all of the buildings. If you've got a setup like the solar array or the wind panel, you're going to need to plug it into the building and then plug the building into the devices. So this is what I meant by I said I was going to rethread this. Instead of dragging it around and around on the stairwell, we're going to put it like this, and I'm going to jump over the railing so that it's essentially dangling down the center. And the only place that it crosses the path of where the person walks is going to be at that very top there. And now it is going to refill those batteries, and we need to work on refilling the boat. But again, we will do that after we've sorted out the roof. Because it is daylight and some other obnoxious creepy crawlies come out at night. So I need to double check the wind turbines before because when it gets dark out, I can go do the indoor stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and charge up again. You can see it's kind of flowing in both directions, which seems kind of weird, but put that back. Make sure you're grabbing the right cable or life gets interesting. Now, There are 2 things to be whacked out here, and there are no plastic splitters, no connectors. So melee weapon, whack, no, whack, whack, whack. Yes, I know you're there. Yeah. Don't be too busy whacking the first one that you back right into the second one because it will come at you too. Awesome. Well, you see, it's not really dead yet. It will respawn if you give it too much time. And now I'm ready that. So, what can we repair over here to lighten the load? It's free silicone. You need it's free silicone. Hi. It's beautifully balanced. I don't have to go back for anything. Yes. All right. The only thing that can go wrong now is to run out of cable. All right. So we're going to dredge the cable from this splitter, and where electricians everywhere are wailing in misery at the violations that we are committing. All right. We're going to connect that there. Connect this one to you. There's a kinks in those wires. It's going to get worse. Connect this one to you. And this one. Yep. Run into you. To you. All right. Now, while the sun is out, we will have solar panel, and if the wind is blowing, we'll have a little bit of wind. If it storms, and often during the night, the wind power will fill. Otherwise, that's what the batteries are for. They'll keep everything running. You can tell if it's windy or not to a certain degree also about what flags are doing. And if you point at the connections, it tells you what the output is. This is telling me the output is 2.4 kilowatts per hour. And the output of all 3 is 7.5 kilowatts per hour. Okay, there's a beastie over there. There is a beastie on this. Oh no, I got the beastie on this door. Mm-hmm. Yes, that was the first one I did. I open this door. This ladder goes straight down to the dock where the ship is and is therefore a use for short. There's no stack here. There. Okay, see, it is getting dimmer, which I suspect means it's clouding over. I don't have any cable. All right, open up the build menu. And for this one, we are just going to go ahead. Plenty of copper, plenty of plastic. Over on the right-hand side, it tells me what materials are needed. I'm in the green for both, so I'm just go ahead and build 5. And then we're going to be a little bored for a moment because we need to wait while it does that. The activity is down there in the lowest corner of the right hand side of the screen. And you will actually see them sort of appear out of midair and slurp into my chest, which amuses me. The wind kicks up during storms, so that is going on. There's another one of those outlets we've plugged into the building, and now we are going to plug in ourselves while we wait for that to finish. Back. Now, you can go downstairs and save again if you're worried about this. These species are not overly worrisome, so I'm going to unlock them. And what's in here? Oh, okay. what's in here is a fabricator on the roof and a recycler on the roof. Dun, 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 dun. All right, so again, I know I'm going to need all of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chuck it over there. Battery. It's not actually needed. As long as you're not fighting anything and you're not currently drowning, you don't have to be overly concerned with your health. But take every opportunity to top it off. And always top it off before you go into any of the vents or open any room that you've never been in before, because that is where there's more than just the blue beasties. There are actually quite a few beasties. So to get power from the wall to the recycler, you're going to come over here. I'm going to actually put this down here, fabricate a connector. This will allow me to do both of these if I wanted to, but I'm not going to get overly concerned in that. Toss in my scraps, great, and now toss in all of the objects. For the most part, we are done repairing things in this part of the game. Well, we're going to have to go back and repair the engine, but that is going to be easy peasy. I think they didn't anticipate me making the electrical splitter up on the platform there. If I hadn't done that, I probably would have had all of the materials that I needed. But that's okay. These are what are called the long iron beams. Those are what you would, a sample of what you would need if you wanted to do that silly bridge I was talking about. They'll bridge a lot of gaps, but they are kind of, there's more, I don't want to say rubber band physics, but if you're lifting things, it can sometimes be difficult to set them down again precisely. So what sometimes happens is that you go to set something down, it gives a little bounce, and then all of a sudden it's off to the races. So I'm going to go ahead and sorry, my cats are arguing with each other behind me. All right. Okay. One of them wants his ears licked, and the other one is like, I'm busy having a nap here. The tails. The ears are back, the tails are whipping. They're off. Oh, but they're blinking. They love each other. Just not enough to, I don't know, put up with the ear licking demand. We have 3 cats, they're siblings. So they're used to each other. They get along for the most part. But the poor little boy cat, his sisters do not put up with him. On a regular basis, they tell him exactly what they think of him. All right, let's get this robot. Alas, robot friend. And put you over here with your other friend. Try not to think about it too much. Feel kind of like cannibalism. Okay. We have plenty of plastic and iron. I did not turn the power on, so this is not going to do us a lot of good. This gets lifted up, make sure it's right side, and then just sort of drop it in the general vicinity of these holes. And you'll do the same thing on the other side with these square ones. These are the electric generators, and these are the diesel ones. for the electric engines and the diesel engines. This cord is perfectly positioned to connect to that battery. I'm not going to use it for that. I'm going to do something else with it. There's plenty of stuff to grab over here. I didn't go after those beds upstairs, but that one there. There was a stream with the community manager, and one of the developers said we need at least one of the beds because reasons. So I don't know. Sometimes I take the bed with me, and sometimes I just say the hell with it, scrap it, and find another one. All right. What is between you and your conscience? Back up here. Anyways, this is the ladder we let down, or the first ladder we let down. This is where we turn the power on. Now, when I came down off the roof is over there on that platform where that yellow pillar is. That yellow pillar is how you eventually open the dock doors. So we're going to get power flowing. At first, I'm going to undo the damage brought by the beasties. And you're going to save. That's not true. You can check our time. No other reason but curiosity. It is now 2:04. So we're 45 minutes in. And we are just about to start. We are all done upstairs except for the looting. And we are going to start refueling the power on the ship and maybe even recharging that battery down there. Those medium batteries cannot be moved. You can move the small batteries, and you can obviously pick up the consumable ones, but you can't move the medium batteries. So when you do get around to building them, be sure of where you want them to live. Otherwise, you have to dismantle them and start all over. So as I'm looking down, I can see two things. One is that there's 3 batteries on top of a stack of boxes down there, left and right. The other is that I could technically jump down to the boat. Don't try that. There is, in fact, fall damage in this game, and I very nearly jumped to my doom. So what we're going to do here is we are going to put out a cable on this side, connect. I'm going to actually connect it to yourself. Pay attention to this too. If you're pointed at the ground, it gives you one set of contextual prompts. This is how you get the contextual prompt for the right trigger to fabricate the cable extender. If I go up, I can't put the cable extender in midair. So all I have left is connect the self or reel it in. You can, however, put them on the walls. I've never tried putting them on the ceiling. That might be fun. But yeah, so pay attention to that. I'm going to go ahead and reel myself back up. All right, now still holding this, I'm going to swing the field of view over to the ladder. Now it's giving me X to enter. This says X to connect to self. This says X to enter. We want to enter the ladder. Don't just jump on the ladder, look for the prompt. It is going to carry the cable down with us. There it is. Now, I'm at the floor. Get the cable extender prompt. And drop it about there-ish. Now we have X to fabricate. So X is usually your interaction button, and next not get back off the ladder. When you're going up, you can actually just jump on the ladder and then move. If you are trying to get down, if you're top of the ladder and want to go down, I would use the prompt, honestly, because if you miss the ladder on the way down, things get ugly. So there's this lovely little gap right here. And except in exceptional circumstances, I've never taken fall damage from this height. From up top, definitely. From this height, you're usually okay. And you cannot, in fact, fall into the water, although I suppose you could try if you really wanted to. All right, now we're going to lay down one last cable extender and connect. And connect this. And we're going to connect this to the boat. Dun, 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 dun. And it lights up. The boat actually lights up, all the lights inside. Like this. And it is now charging whatever battery is inside the boat. That is one of the things that we need to do. So what we're also going to do, I don't have any cable on me. Build 5 more cable. If you have the parts for it, you might as well build cable in batches of 5, since now when you're if you're grabbing something, it's going to pause. If you're dismantling something, the build queue will pause. So if you need to walk around, you're fine. You need to carry stuff. Oh, then be aware that you are delaying whatever it is that it's ready. Bunch of devices on the back of the boat. Robot friend. Back here is another diesel generator. Those are the teddy bears off to the side that they're a diesel engine. Sorry, the generator is something else entirely. Yeah, that's out in the air, same vicinity. You can build these. You get the capacity to build it's a freebie actually to build the electric generators, and that may be something that we do. All right, so I need to connect to here. Come up the stairs so that we don't have to jump as far ahead and connect to you. And what I decided I like doing best with these, because there are a lot of others all over the place. Stairs are complicated. You get it. I like putting them in here and leaving them behind, because if I needed to get in here to make materials, I want to be able to power this. It's not actually pulling any input at the moment, but if you're worried about it, turn it off and it just go back down to 0. Eventually, when I leave, I like to turn all the equipment and all the lights on. Pop back down here. Come back here. You can actually put these in your inventory, but it's one, they're very heavy, and 2, it's a little dodgy. Oops. Sometimes they suck right up into your inventory, and sometimes it's like, nah, never mind. All right. So, this vent is actually fairly safe. I don't think there's anything living in it. Okay, I'm going to check this down here. Now, it is part of the game to be constantly picking things up. Oh, that's in the water. See, this is why I don't put things there. Constantly be picking things up and tossing them around, carrying them around. If that sounds like hell on earth to you, maybe don't get it. But there are shortcuts. For example, I really like connecting myself to a power source, whipping out my dismantle tool, and dismantling things. And this way, as long as it's within reach of the cable, I don't have to worry. I would not, for example, try to jump that. I don't know how much cable they have, but This both recharges me up to full and keeps me from having to haul stuff around. On the other hand, you do have to put up with the noise of the machine. Maybe it's some more. Okay. You do have to put up with the noise of the machine itself when you are using the dismantle tool. I'm going to skip the boxes for the moment. I'm able to get to you. Let me say, a lot of times they put boxes in places that they want you to jump up into. Now, you'll notice that I'm overloaded, which means that as I move, I would drain electricity if I wasn't attached to the thing. For the purposes of this moment, I don't have to be overly concerned about it because I'm not going very far. I'm overloaded with all of the materials I brought from upstairs. I'm overloaded with all of the scrap. I'm going to connect over here. You can pass through the wires. Materials cannot. I figured they couldn't abide having to ask you to constantly jumping up and down over wires. So, tech scraps in. Goodbye, robot friend. My robot friend. You can just chuck everything. How much trash would a robot chuck if the robot could chuck trash? And it's just going to pile up over there. And for the moment, I'm going to let it. Go ahead. This tells you the state of the boat. It's at 70% and is sort of charging but not charging because we're using the machine, and the machine has a passive charge. This tells you the diesel, and it is halfway because of how we set that up. The next thing we're going to do is come over here and turn on the fabricator, and we're going to fabricate some boxes. Now, I've tried a couple different ways of doing these. I have my preference, but everybody's going to organize their stuff differently. I'll just show you what I do with mine. First thing actually that I'm going to do is I'm going to build one of the tasers. I'm going to say add all parts to queue. It's going to start building the parts. And then click again. I'm going to say build the object. So it's making these boxes. It's dropping them over here. And all the boxes sit there. Once it's made all the boxes, it will suck up all the boxes and it will do the gun. There it is. There's the gun. Boxes are on. In a moment, the taser will pop out. Different things take different amounts of time to make. You can, in fact, do a lot of this yourself from your build menu. It's just less fussy to do it. Well, in some ways, it's less fussy to do it here because you can move around. In other ways, it's more fussy because I found that sometimes it gets caught in little loops and then it sort of just pauses the queue and you have to come back and sort it out. So I'm just going to add everything. I want to make bunches and bunches. All right, it's telling me that I can make in the upper right, under materials, it's telling me that I can make 6 display screens. That is 5 display screens. That is the limitation. So I'm going to add all parts to queue. That all parts to Q2, 7, 3, then 4, then 5. All right, so it's just building the parts here. It is not building the storage boxes. And it is pulling things out of it. Actually will pull things from over here. There's a proximity setting on this, and it will pull things from over here. It will also pull things from any boxes put on the floor. I've seen a lot of people put boxes on the wall. There were some bugs at one point where the boxes were falling off the wall, which was annoying everybody who thought they'd neatly put the place up, and now it wasn't. But I still tend to put mine on the wall just to start, and I'll show you what that looks like. Go ahead and put this up. These are essentially just building blocks. It's telling me that I'm overloaded in that. So I'm going to do this manually. I'm going to go into my build menu. You can see I can make all of the parts, and I can make each of the items that I needed. I'm just going to say build, and I'm going to just pop one here, fabricate. Fabricate. And I think I was getting them pretty well 3 up and 3 across. Leave a bit of a gap. You can see them, they're taking stuff out of my inventory, and in fact, they will take them out of the tray of that machine as well. But if you have to go a far way away from the fabricator, you want to make the stuff, make the building blocks, put the blocks in the inventory, and then carry the blocks to the location. I had that there. All right, that one is empty because I don't actually have parts for it. And come back here, and I make, it seems, oh, that's the torch. Come down here, I can make one more. I'm going to say add all parts to queue. Add down. Can we get away with it? Or was there a limitation? No, and you see the little blue is coming over here, and it is completed. All right, so what we're going to do, we are going to reserve this one for iron, and we're going to flip all of this up. So all of these are going to be for common materials. I'm going to reserve that one for iron. This one is going to be plastic. This one is going to be cat iron. This one is going to be iron. This one is going to be glass. This one is going to be fabric. The reason I put copper up here is that I end up with a lot of copper. So this is the designated overflow for copper. And you'll notice if I am selecting the item, it says common. It says the name of the item is rubber on the right-hand side, and then it says common, and it has a white frame around it ordinarily. The one underneath it, this one, the silicone, has a green frame in certain flights. And when you select it, it says uncommon. So I'm going to put rubber over here, and I'm going to make new boxes for the uncommon items. But to do that, I'm going to need more resources. So this is another thing that you don't have to do straight out the back. You could do this later. I just like doing it now. So this is the, I've added the pistol, the taser, to my holster. And what I need to do is connect. Now you'll notice it says X to connect to self and Y to connect to the electric pistol. And now on the little screen, it's a little hard because there's not a lot of contrast. It is counting up to 100. It is charging the pistol. You can actually charge the pistol off of the robot body. I wouldn't suggest it, except in extreme circumstances, because it will drag you down, but that is an option. And there are battery packs, I think, later on that you can get that will also allow you to extend the charge and then not have to worry about it. And in fact, if you have a power source near you, you can connect to that and fire the taser as much as you want until the power source runs out. So, and that is one of the reasons you're going to need a lot of cable. All right. This is a net that collects debris as you sail. So you can't really play with it too much in the demo. This is a saltwater output. I'm not entirely sure what this does. It collects saltwater, I guess, as you move. What you would do with the saltwater, I'm not sure. You do come across a purifier at one point and can create fresh water. But what you would do with fresh water, I'm not entirely sure. This would, I guess, allow you to collect carbon dioxide from the diesel engine, which is this one back here. This is, that's the anchor. This is the diesel input, which we're not using. Come up here, and we have a diesel tank that can act as a bit of a backstop in case we are low on diesel for some reason. We have another small battery that we're going to leave for the moment. We have a electric engine that we're going to sort in a moment. Backup. Backup's not 2. And we're going to take this engine downstairs. I like going down this side of the boat, and then I don't have to run into the staircase. Now we will have 2 engines, 2 electric engines, and 2 diesel engines. You want to turn these off for any reason. The reset switch is here. Do that, and the boat will no longer use diesel to move. It will just use electric. Electric being an easily renewed resource, right? Easier to renew resource than diesel is. That is an advantage. There are places that you can find diesel out there. I've seen folks in early access who have access already get at them. And there is a diesel generator that you can build. But essentially, anytime you kill one of the beasties, it gives you a little bit of biological scraps. And then the biological scraps can be used to create diesel fuel. Statistically, however, solar power and wind power is going to be less. I prefer that in the long run because unless something really changes, there will eventually be a little of each. Whereas the diesel, you have to rely on the beasties or you have to go pick a fight with them. And so I don't have to be bothered. All right, so collecting a bunch of metal scraps, collecting a bunch of plastic scrap. This, I've done my trick where I'm attached to the battery, which as you can see is full essentially. It is also telling me that I could technically dismantle the battery. However, it's not a good idea to do it at this point because I won't get as many parts back from it because I haven't unlocked that battery in the skill tree yet. So that is something that you might want to wait for when you run across these things. This is just sort of here to be cleaned out. I can't decide about the bed. We'll skip the bed. The bed gave a bunch of the uncommon materials. It also gave a bunch of the rare materials. So we saw the uncommon was green, rare is blue. And as far as I can tell, I was not getting any rare out of robots. I think the rare has to come from the bed. I also don't know what you use the rare for at the moment. So take that with a grain of sand. You can, in fact, also dismantle the forklift. But again, it'll give you the same results. It'll say, yeah, you can get most of the stuff out of this, but you can't get all of it. All right, I'm out of courage. So I'm going to do these last little bits. I'm going to jump that up and just do these things. And again, I'm leaving the boxes just. The boxes take a while to dismantle, and they're kind of boring. And the alternative, of course, also is that you can take boxes with you. You take all the stuff with you. I've seen folks who just chuck everything onto the boat. Anything that can make the boat gets thrown into the front or the back, and they will just sort it out while on the high seas. I don't think there's anything up there. There is some stuff here. One advantage of putting it onto the boat is then you can connect yourself to the boat, and this won't cost anything. All right, so this is the small diesel container. Stash that over here, a bit of a jump. This makes me nervous. And drop that as gently as possible, and not just too much. Now we're going to take this back up the stairs. And drop it in here. Might one day regret not having it, but come to that as we. All right, so that's most of that over here sorted. I'll put my scraps in the recycling machine. And we make another box. Right. All right. We are just a little excited. And for this one, I don't know this one. It might be overflow for iron eventually. Because iron and copper, there's just a lot of metal around. So, what I found is that I like to have two uncommon and one rare. At the moment, the rare is probably going to stay empty. Because that's it. And it's doing that. And I can recharge. There we go. That's done. These do have a weight to them, so if you're doing like an epic pack, increase your back. Okay. Turn it off. Well, actually, maybe of them. But for the moment, we go ahead and build 3 on this. Oh. 1, 2. And you'll notice as well that when they're empty, they look pretty plain. As you fill them, they begin to tell you how many kilograms are in them. And you start to see a little bar creep across it. You can see that one says 29. It's got a little dent of, it has 70. It's about half full. Eventually it becomes red and then you can't fit anything in there. So we're going to put the aluminum, polyurethane, and the silicone in this one. And we're going to put the gold in this one. Why bother? Here's a neat trick. It was for mostly comments. So open this, and for me, it's hitting the left joystick, pressing it down. You can see at the bottom it says deposit similar. So we're just going to put all of the iron into the box. So now all I have to do is this. You don't have to sort anything out. And that is empty. That is rubber. And the rest is over here. So that keeps my inventory nice and neat. Now, while the box is open, if you hit left button to customize, you can change the custom and you can put icons on the side. Don't bother with the icons on this one because you can't see the sides. But what I'm going to do is these are uncommon green items. So I am going to make this box green. And that is all I'm going to do in terms of fancifying things. Because so I'm just dragging red down to 0, green as high as it'll go, and then blue down to 0, and you get essentially a pure green. For this one, I'll come down to colors, select, red down to 0, green down to 0, and blue up to the maximum. And now I know if I have any blue materials, it can go in there. And I have 2 teddy bears and Mommy, the dinosaur. All right, so that is that part sorted. Now, and we may at some point, and all of that is close enough to the machinery that the fabricator can have it. So let's go ahead and go in here. Good. And dismantle this. Nope. I'm going to jump into it. There's almost always scraps. Oh, my trusty flow tube. Also, I belong to a generation that thought flow tubes were just the neatest thing on button. So I think these flow tubes are fun. It often pays to look up when you're in these as well, but I've been through these. I don't think there's any here. It also pays to move down, look down. Ah, pink slime. There's pink slime down here. All right. Switch over to our torch. And this seems like a bad idea. Pink slime is attracted to light. If you turn on your torch at the moment, the slime will come at you. We are going to get up close and we're going to tase the slime. Ta-da-da. All right. Glow stick out. And more slime. And our reward, more scraps. There. The reward is it's around them. You always want to look before you go charging around the corner. You can also throw the glow sticks. I'm not entirely sure why you would want to, but there you go. Our reward is somebody's little hidey hole. And these are examples of more memories. These was another one of the teddy bears that we got. This is a different sort of memory. They all do different things when you get to that part of the game, but you don't get to it in the demo. So we'll look at that later. The next thing that can happen, you can't take the posters with you, unfortunately, is you can break down everything in here. And then grab some plastic scraps, metal scraps, and fabric scraps. My guess is that the all of the other robots just created these little hidey holes that they popped in and out of, and that's where they slept or rested. Okay, so this is not going to let me in, and I panic. You hold down the left button, you crouch, but you have to hold it down. And then once you're in the tunnel, you can let go of it and you're fine. And if you find yourself moving weirdly slowly, all right, it doesn't like the glow stick. Okay. The glow stick also is passive, it doesn't draw any energy, whereas the couch does. And as you can see, that slime did not respond to the glow stick. So I think I embed anything. But if you find yourself moving kind of slow and you're thinking, what the hell? That's the joystick again. They're probably just crouching stuff. Right. Here, toss that in. All right, I need another box. In fact, I probably need two boxes. So let's go ahead and see if we have the materials to make two more boxes. I can make three. Fantastic. I just need two. And this is going to be something to put the teddy bears in and something to put biomatter in because I get some others. The fabricator will pull out of your personal inventory, out of any boxes around it, out of the dump box over here off when things just pop out of the recycler. And pretty much as long as you're within the area, it'll grab it. Just a little bit more of that. We have a bunch of gold. I have no idea what the gold is for. Absolutely none. I haven't seen anything that uses it. Okay, but they give you bazillion gold. You'll be a bazillionaire by the time you're done. All right. For simplicity's sake, come over here. Gonna build. If it's red, it means it's, something material or whatever. You can rotate things a little or a lot, or you just, if it's stuck to the wall, don't mess with it because it will unstick itself. If it's on the floor, you can pick it up and rotate it and move it around the chute. So this one, I'm going to put the BioLite. I think that came off of that. The NutriCore. A lot of this has to do with food at some point, but again, I don't know what the NutriCore is for. It is, however, different than the memories, so we're going to give it its own space. And now I'll go ahead and customize. I'm going to call this one. Well, it's goo essentially. So we're just going to put the poop icon on it because we are childish. This one though, we're going to go ahead and put the brains icon on it. And now we can tell the difference. And we don't have to faff around with recoloring them. Okay. Go ahead and recharge and then save. All right. So we're at an hour 31 on the stream. We could leave any time. So the question is there something that we want to do beyond this? There are a couple other vents you can get into. You can find more memories in there. You can connect up the batteries. You can go back over to the other side and get a bunch of those tech scraps. And in fact, goodbye, robot friend. Okay, leave the battery right there, in fact. Yeah, there's a table I missed last time. You need the place up a bit. Not really. There's nothing to be done. All right. So this is where you start to do the math, because if you're coming back here, do you want to dismantle everything and risk coming back to what is essentially an empty hole? Now, in any other game, you would say, oh, but things just respawn. I don't think things respawn in this game. I think that's part of the thing, is they want you to, I mean, although I have not heard this, I have not heard anybody talk about it. So this is just a bit of observation. But oops, let me do that. If nothing spawns, that would make sense, right? Because it's like a dying world. It's not like in a game where you're out in the forest and, well, the trees, they don't regrow that really, let's face it, but they do eventually. So you might want to consider whether or not it's worth depopulating everything or, strip mining everything. And in fact, I think I'm going to leave that area untouched. This is the fast start, maybe. Yeah. Well, it's not particularly efficient because I've been here for an hour and a half. These are some of those long beams again that I was talking about. So what I was doing with the bridge is I was very carefully getting things right about here. You want to build it out just a bit on either side. The problem is that you're going to drop this, and it's either going to drop with a thud right where you landed, or it's going to fall into the water. Okay, that's okay. And honestly, you don't need this. Now, I'm going to come back over here and find these. These don't go through the door so well anyway, so maybe we'll use it for something else. And do the same on this side. It doesn't like it when it has to just connect on this. This, though, you can go through some materials. If they flop into the water, you're screwed. Now, I was on sometimes putting an extra layer, take it out a bit. Like, I don't think I have any more of those. Let's go ahead and turn this on.
Nothing is wasted.
Oh, wait, I do. This is a weird one because it doesn't lay flat. You see how it's, I can't see where I'm going. There we go. It's doing this. So I would almost come over here, put it like this, and then get behind it and just give it a bit of a nudge and see if I could knock it over. There we go. All right. So that's pretty sturdy. I'm going to jump over here. And what I discovered is if I just put the beams down, then they fell into the water since there was not enough support for some reason. I had to have something on either end with the beams new right there. Two of the beams here. like that. Dun, dun, dun. And then we're going to put the other one. And we could leave it. We could leave it like that. Put it up. And we go. It is stable. You put it side to side. What I'm going to do actually, oh, did I dismantle the ones that was up top? I'll go ahead and do that there. And you see it's a little wobbly over there. I wouldn't necessarily want to land on that and have the whole thing go flying. You can get a plastic pallet and put that on top, and that kind of acts as your floor. You can go find more of those metal sheets. I'm going to check something out. I'm going to jump over here. Please don't sink. There we go. Get on there. It would be when I'm trying to show off. Okay. I'm going to come over here. I thought there were some more beams up here. They are in various spaces. They're a bit. Aha, here we go. This is what I needed. And yeah, lifted up. They're heavy and they're awkward, but it'll be worth it in the end. Turn it lengthwise so it's in front of me. Hit the Y to rotate things. Particularly if you're finding that they don't want to go through doors. Slicking down as gently as possible. And hope that the other end is where it needs to be. Okay. I still want to weight the other end of that plate down with something. And unfortunately, I have. And I'm remember one to what I've been doing all this. So what we'll do is we'll weight the other end of the plate down. We'll get one more of the beams. And then we will find some plates that we can, there's stuff in here. Ah, this is a short beam. And I will do this one will do this strategy. And then we're going to essentially sandwich this plate between the two heavy objects. Physics is our friend, at least in theory. And then with that, where'd the other beam go? Let's score it a second. And this one is slightly different in terms of shape and length, so we'll see if it works. You would find them up on the roof as well, but it's a pain in the butt to get things down from the roof, so you know, if that's good. This one, I think I am going to be satisfied with that. And do we have any other iron plates?
Use your dismantle unit to break objects into trash, then feed that into the recycling. Or place entire
As long as the lights are on the loudspeaker, we can only mean about it. We could use those. Do we even have anything else? Use that. We could go deeper into the. Yeah. Let's just use this.
There are no shipments, no resupply. What you reclaim and what you build is all that remains.
Up this. This is going to fall off in inches. I've not tried it with these. Yeah, that's going to fall off the edge. Nope. You go into the water. All right. So what you would need to do is you would need to find 2 more of the metal plates. And then if you put it on top, you would essentially have, I mean, this is pretty secure. You can get over that without knocking anything loose. I wouldn't jump on it like monkeys in a bed, but that is my accomplishment for the day. That is the bridge. Okay. Um, so I think unless we want to go into one of the vents upstairs, back up real quick. Pop 2. All right. We're not at 2 hours left yet. We have plenty of juice. There's the cable. Time is it? Yeah, it's nighttime. I don't know that I want to be going into those vents at nighttime. Oh, wait, there is one more thing I definitely want to do before I go. So in that recycling room, it's also not something I'm going to do. In that recycling room is, I'm getting lighter. Is this thing coming up? Oh, I nearly forgot the teddy bear. There we go. It's off the edge because it makes me nervous. It is getting lighter than there. Yes. It's fine. Dismantle you down. Dismantle you. There's stuff all over. There's stuff on the roofs. There's stuff behind the buildings. There's stuff off the edges. If you poke over some of the ladders, they go down the side of the building. Some of them just go down to water areas. Others go down to like ledges and busted spaces where you're expected to jump from spot to spot. And yeah, this has got some scrap, an item. I'm just a little nervous tossing things from the right height that I'm going to accidentally toss myself. Actually, let's just dismantle this thing. Recharge in a moment. There's stuff over here in this corner. I think what I'll do, the bathroom's down the stairs. Moonwalk in. Okay. That's not him. I'm going to grab the easily lootable items over here and reach these things away from the edge. Oh, knock things off the edge. I mean, totally. Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. All right. So off the edge, you'll find the more of those metal plates underneath things an awful lot, but it's a pain to get them down off the roof. This ladder goes all the way down and comes out, I think, in front of the dock doors, which we haven't opened yet. This is a way down. It is also a trencher. So let's recharge first. And then I'm going to recharge. Let's show you how the taser works. Even better than with the pink slime. So these electric cable extenders, you can grab them in the sense that you can rotate them. So if you've got weird kinks in your wires, you want to do that, but you can't actually pick them up and move them. If you put them in the wrong place, you have to dismantle them. All right, so I'm at 93%. That should be fine. And then the taser. Watch really what this sounds. Lovely area of effect. Bits. Oh, just finish it. All right. And then down there is stuff. And we'll go down there and get that in a moment. There is another one of these critters over here. Actually, I'm not. The disadvantage of being stingy with my stenders is now I have to go back all the way over here if I want to charge it. Connect to the pistol. You want to be holding the pistol when you do this, because otherwise you can't really see what's going on. Basically, just count to 100. These traffic cones are good for plastic if you run out of them. Any of the yellow and orange signage or anything like that. So if you come down here, so these are good for plastic as well. If you come down here very carefully, because the gantry dead ends, you can walk along that. You notice what's up there? What's up there is a who's it. So the way to get at said who's it, and what's it, if you prefer, is come at it from this. This is a safe angle. You can't hit it from here with the taser, but if you move very carefully, you do not go over the edge on the same time. You're just going to stand here, and if something wants to hit us, we are going to let it inch forward. We are not going to go this one, and then we're going to retreat like so. Now, if you go back down that gantry and shimmy along the edge, essentially you get to a little space where you can jump up and in, and there's another little bolt hole. It's got more memories, but that makes me nervous, so I'm going to chicken out and not do it. What do I need to be dangling? Yeah. Get on the ladder. Thank you. And down here, he always flings himself off the ladder for no big reason. Makes me nervous. All right. You want to take the balls, the basketballs, because they are memories. And my robot friend, I'm going to dismantle. We're not going to try to push him around, because it's one thing to drop into the dock water and fumble around while you don't want to lose your robot friend. It's another thing to jump into outdoors when you. That happened to me in one playthrough. I went down the wrong tunnel and ended up outdoors, and I was like, those are the dock doors. You can see that's the ladder that goes all the way down. This has a dock doors because that's where the dock is. Then if the doors are open, the ladder can't move. Anyways, it's another way of getting back up as well. If you end up in the drink, as it were. This is an example of one of those little spaces. They go most of the way around, and then every now and then they stop. And it's just generic items. That we have 25. I think, for completeness sake, because you got to figure out if you want to come back, you don't want to find the place infested with anything. You go ahead and take care of the pink slime. And I know it's down this end. Okay, I'm not going to say first because I'll chicken shit when it comes to parkouring, but pink slime. Okay, let me turn my torch on. Okay, that on. Okay, what are you? You are at 80%. Let's stop that. Okay. And Put you to death a little bit. It's going to give you an opportunity to loot, even though you can't really see what you're getting. These are just kind of also here. As far as I know, it's all walls. You want to be mindful because there are drops in here, which of course is one of the reasons why the usually you would have your torch on. Okay, let's not battle this line. I can't move. But even though it's a bit of a drag, we're going to go back. I'm going to turn you on. Put all of the extra stuff that we've been collecting in. Chewing. All right, let that roll. And come back in here to find this one. So you hit the slime with the torchlight, with the flashlight. It will multiply aggressively and come up. See, it wants you to jump down. You may be thinking to yourself, that's a god-awful stupid idea. Why would I do that? Pretty much for the same reason you do anything in this game is to find stuff. Now, that one you do not want to jump down. It is too tall to jump back up. So once you're down there, you're following it to the end, and it comes out and grate that you can jump down into the water outside the complex. And at that point, you have to swim around to a ladder and climb back up. All right, so I'm going to take another glow torch. Jump down here, and we have slime. We essentially have our back to the wall here, so don't piss off the slime at this point. Because while you've turned around and tried to jump back up, the slime has eaten you. And I think I'm just not. Let's see. It's coming at you kind of slow. You need to move forward at a steady pace. And we'll turn the lights in a minute. Let's see. This is another drop. Look down at one point and with the torch, I think that's a vent that just opens up into the water. And I don't know if it opens up into the dock or outside. And then we have a grate that opens up there. And that is the end of the pink slime. Now, I came back to this jump at one point and was absolutely horrified because the character would not jump. I'm like, oh my God, why can't you jump? Why aren't you jumping? I was crouched. You cannot crouch and jump at the same time. So just going to jump. There we go. All right, and now we're going to remember which way. All right, this way, because those are those two canisters that we don't do anything. I don't think there was pink slime in the other vent, but I guess we double check to be sure. There are two more drops in the other vent that you want to be mindful of because they will be a pain in the butt to get out of. This I'm going to dismantle because it's heavy. Yeah. So if I understand correctly, you get experience for dismantling things, you get experience for you essentially get experience for collecting resources. So looting, dismantling, and pulling these things out of the recycler uh, get you experience for dismantling. Should get in. This one I'm confident enough to turn this on. This has two places to go. I was missing this one for the longest time because I was so focused on going ahead that I didn't notice that off to the side was the other. I don't know. And we have yes, this one goes around on the outside. Tax scraps, battery, and another drop. And this is another one. See, that one goes down into the water. Is it the water outside the building or is it the water in the dock? I have never tested that theory. And you let me know if that works out one for you. There's a bunch of stuff apparently up in the ceiling as well. If you get up into the rafters, yeah, this is where we came in. But I've never had the skill to do that without dropping myself down. So that is something I can't answer for you. Right. And this one has a ladder, which is usually a sign that it's pretty safe. And we missed the ladder. Unfortunately, it was not a very deep drop. What is nice in here is you have the crayons, which represent a memory, and you have a battery, and you have a monitor, which we like because we get text breaks from it. In fact, you can probably spend the energy to dismantle anything in here and not that. I imagine there are places in the game where you know, gain a lot of familiarity with all of the spaces and will be able to zip around and know which ladder gets you to which vent, which gets you to which ladder. Yep, anyway. Yep. So those are those two vents. Just remember the pink slime is there. There's another vent downstairs, but all it does is look up and without any way to climb. That doesn't really do any good. So here's that. Stand up. And attach straps to the machine. And off our torch. Recharge ourselves. And it's daylight again. See, the way these work is that I think they're set by default to equalize, which is a sort of circle and line. And then if they're being actively used by a single output, like the machine, they just recalibrate themselves to output. Turn off. Okay. Everything that came out of there. Be mindful of stuff in these machines. I've seen a couple of people have sort of like phantom materials stuck in the machine, just kind of floating. Like it don't give you a damn. And we'll leave this open because it requires powered up open when it's trapped outside. There's fabric scraps. Okay. Now there's a couple different ways to get down. You can come over here and take the ladder down. but I'm going to go down through the space. I'm overweight. But for the distance that I have to go, that's okay. If you need to shed some weight and you're carrying a lot of things you just got out of the recycler, honestly, just drop them and go back to them. I dropped the copper first because it just seems to be all over the place. But copper and iron are also very heavy, so dropping them is a good option. And this doesn't bother me too much. All my batteries are running. That is running. I'm not in need of healing. And then heading back up. Yes, I do something spectacularly stupid. I'm going to turn the light off. I mean, conceptually, any lights that you leave on drain a little bit of power, just a little. But I don't know how long you would have left someplace like this or what that sounds like. So I tend to turn things off. I'm going to put it into that. I didn't think I got those extra batteries. I'll show you those extra batteries. That's interesting. Okay. It's the one more thing of these games. Oh, because I was going to make extra engines. I think in the real game, I would definitely make extra engines before I leave the dock. Apparently, they make the boat a lot more responsive, which, considering what a bad driver I am, I'm going to need all the help I can. That noise is my alarm going off. That is in 2 hours. Which is okay. That is a little uncommon and it'll do. Food, memories, food, basketballs. Somewhere along the line too, I picked up a electric grenade. Given my complete lack of aim, I imagine I will probably just chuck that at the wrong thing and it will fall off the edge. Or I could drop it and blow myself up. That could be exciting. All right. I have to decide about the bed. Did we go up? I think we went down. All right. In here, I got so excited about um the long bars. I thought turn in the other direction. Pardon me. Swallow much. And find these 2 batteries. And I will move those into that. There's another one of those. I'm going to fall into the hole. To be fair, I played this game through this demo through 5 times. It is only the second time I've fallen down that while doing that exact same maneuver. And there is an upstairs and a downstairs to this, and there are more memories back there. And at least in the demo, there is not, I don't think, anything that you could. That just points upward. And I don't know where it comes out, if it comes out anyway. I thought maybe it would be cool if you could get a cable down from the bottom, down from the roof, kind of inside the walls, because that would be how a lot of buildings would be designed. They aren't draping everything all over everything, but I never found the outlet up top if that was what was going on. There are occasionally a couple of vents that you can point the dismantler out, and it will allow you to dismantle them. There is a set of letters. It's telling you that there's a bunch of logs. I'll show you where you can find the logs in a minute. There's that. Anyway. All right. That's what we already did. Be mindful of the battery. This looks like it's going to a dead end. Look up, nothing. Look over, and it's built a little ramp, a bridge of their own. We made it. All right, so we just got a few more resources. I'm gonna leave the metal. I'm gonna take the fabric. Really, I picked up a stopwatch with one of the things. This is a safe drop. There we go. Turn off the torch. Okay. Got the batteries, got the memories, got everything pretty much turned off, closed off, work values. So two more things to do. One is to open the doors, toggle that switch, which again, you can do at any point. We could have done it, I think, about 45 minutes in. You get these lovely doors opening so that you can get your boat out. Getting it back in again might not be as easy. There's some fabric. We're going to pretend we didn't see that. Now, before I dismantle this, I'm not going to dismantle it entirely. I'm going to leave the item coming down from there. Eventually, I'm just going to disconnect this wire. Come down here. Feed, store, letters, and stopwatch. These things have little sort of emotional hit points or something. This one says it gives you patience. The stopwatch gives you patience. Others give you different things. I guess it comes in handy some later on. All right. I'm going to leave this where it is for the moment since that is not weighing us down. Nothing's weighing us down. I feel flowing. That's fine. Let's see. That is 5.6 kilowatts out of 6. I'm going to call that good. Probably because we used the machinery. All right, so what's to be done with the bed? The bed is heavy, awkward, and doesn't like to fit the doors. But I have seen it in the bathroom. And since I guess if I needed the stuff that's in it, I could always dismantle it later. I'll go ahead and take it. I'm going to just lock it in a corner. There's no interaction to it. Apparently, there's an engraving on the back that's a Star Wars reference. And I'll leave you to find that if you want to. All right. Flip 5, yeah, still same thing. All right. I'm going to start attaching. I'm just going to leave that cable there in case we need cables and you don't like cables. All right. I'm going to take this cable with. I'm going to take this cable with. There we go. You can see it's stinking cost. The battery is full. Then you grab this. We're going to that. Take that away. So it's detached itself from the item up there. And at this point, our ship is just running off of what we put into it so far, which is about half a tank of diesel. You can, and for the main game, I may drain the diesel tank and not leave anything behind. This one, we just took half the tank. And we're going to take this cable. It's theoretically not half the tank. You also probably want to, or on the, I guess in the real start, I would want to dismantle these as well. Okay. Let's do one more quick check. Right, that's out. It hasn't actually caught anything, which is to be expected. And we go here to the cockpit. These, there's another one up on the platform there. This is called the Pico. It's a variety of things. This is a camera, all the cameras that you can see. Here's us. You can't move them. You can just spy on them. You can see that's the power room. We can see that is actually the view of, it must be, it's the screens act as cameras. So that is the view coming out of the other machine, as you can see the batteries. Log data. These are, every time we picked up a memory, this fills this up. One thing that I do wish very much that they would change is this is pale text on a pale background, which makes it very hard to read. It is also very small text. I can read it if I really squint at the screen, but it's a strain. Space does not give you any information at the moment. Quest log or your survival guide is your help files. This is all of the items that you've collected, all of your instructions. This tells you about the different types of beasties that are out there. Cocoons of unknown origin and nature exist in green, white, and dark, grow tentacles around themselves, and store hostile aliens within, entities within. So yeah, that's cool. Again, it's that really low contrast text, which makes it hard to read. In some of the playthroughs I've seen, it's possible to change the colorway, which would be the first thing that I would do because this is not useful. But then again, this is going into early access, so any kind of accessibility is probably going to come later. So this is telling us that, oh, I think the machinery downstairs, this I'm actually curious about this. The machinery downstairs, I think, is drawing power. The other thing that might be drawing power is just the lights on the ship. But let's come down here and turn it off. And turn you off. All right. It says it's whatever it's doing is costing half a kilowatt at a time. My guess is that it's kilowatts. All right, you can take the stairs up. And I find the stairs to be fidgety. So come over here anyways. We want to save. Backup slot 2. And we are sailing out of here at 3:26, which is just over 2 hours because we just took a couple of those little side quests. I easily spent 10 minutes building that silly little bridge, but it makes me happy. You can see it right there. So I don't need to jump and take a bath. The robots get stinky. Anyways. All right. Pilot boat, hit X. Y to release the anchors. Okay. The left joystick is both speed and direction. The right joystick controls the camera. So I can change the camera. No problem. I can up the throttle. We will now sail majestically into the wild blue yonder. Oh, the slightly stormy seas. It's kind of drizzling out here. Ooh, lightning. If you're playing this game on highest resolution graphics, I imagine it is stunning. I downsampled because I can't stream and play intensity
More than just machinery.
at the same
It's your
time.
refuge. Your home now. Sail forth, caretaker. Reclaim the waters humanity once commanded.
Now, the instructions when you leave in the main game are going to send you to the next location, and there'll be a map that you can see that you see on one of the screens. This will tell you that you're leaving the playable area, and then it'll transition on to the thank you for playing. I should be over here practicing how to steer, because when this actually comes to the point where I need to dock it, things are going to get ugly. There we go. Oh, this little cinematic they have as well too. That shot. I love that shot. That is so cool. The little sweethearts tumbling over each other. And the assumption is that the rocket is part of Endgame, in terms of the Save Humanity part involves building a rocket ship. And that's that. This comes out tomorrow. I think somebody said it was going to be $35. It is early access, so with all that entails, don't get overly attached to anything, I think, is how I tend to go at those games. Don't spend a bazillion hours building your base down to the last centimeter exactly as you want it until you get full release or get closer to full release, because sometimes they'll have you reset. But I've been watching a lot of the streams and a lot of the social media on this, and I really like the look of it. I really like the sound of it, and I will definitely be getting it as soon as it releases tomorrow. And then we will see what the next stage looks like. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Okay. I will go then and go get something to eat. And in the meantime, thanks for watching.